Today on Family Talk.
Remarriage has become more common today due to startling high divorce rates. The children in these newly formed families often struggle to adjust to a new parental figure. So what can step-parents do to better care for their stepchildren? Well, we hope to unpack that answer through this insightful edition of Family Talk. Hi everyone, I'm Roger Marsh, and this radio program is a production of the James Dobson Family Institute. In just a minute, we'll conclude this classic three-part discussion on navigating the difficult step-family dynamic. Dr. Dobson's guest once again is Laura Petherbridge. She's a step-family expert, having dealt with this scenario on a personal level. Laura shared in a previous program that she had two stepmothers growing up and is a stepmom herself, so she is definitely an authority on this tough subject. Laura Petherbridge has authored 4 books, including the focus for this 3-day broadcast, a book called The Smart Stepmom. She's an international speaker and frequently writes for Christian Broadcasting Network and Proverbs 31 Ministries. Laura is also featured on the Divorce Care DVD series, which is used by 14,000 churches worldwide. She also previously taught divorce recovery training at Reformed Theological Seminary in Orlando, Florida. Today, Laura Petherbridge and Dr. Dobson will again focus on the tense relationship between a child and their step-parent. She'll also talk to the single mom who feels like she's failed her kids by not remarrying. There's a lot of great content to get to, so let's get started. We'll begin with Laura Petherbridge expressing some key advice to stepmoms as they enter a new family.
It's really important that the stepmom not try to take over that mom role. That, she is the woman in the home. Yes, she is the mother of that home. But she needs to embrace the fact that these children already have a mom. So try very hard as it is with our female intuition and our female instincts, to not just try to take over as a woman, as a mom in the home, to let those kids guide the direction of how the relationship is going to go. Again,
is that what you mean by freedom?
Yes, absolutely. It's so important for a stepmom, and if she can, to even say this to the biological mom. Now, obviously, she's going to say it to the children. I'm not your mother. I'm not going to try to be your mother. But it's even a good idea if she can say it to the biological mom. I want you to know that I am not here to take over your role. I want to just be the best role model for your kids that I can. If I can do something that will help to bridge the gap between these two homes, please let me know what that is. There are some stepmoms right now hearing this, and they're cracking up laughing because they're going, there is absolutely no way I could have that kind of a conversation with my stepchildren's mother. She won't allow it. But sometimes over time, especially if things have gone on for a little while, it's possible that you could have that kind of conversation with the biological mom. These are not my children. And I have to learn, every circumstance is different, but I have to learn the boundaries of where my role begins and where my role stops.
Now, that's a little different if you have very, very young children.
That's correct.
The man you married is the father of a baby.
That's correct.
You probably do have to play a more active mothering role.
And that is especially true today because one of the trends I'm seeing is more and more biological moms leaving their children, either because of an addiction, they're in rehab, or there's a reason that they're not in the child's life, or they're leaving the family to go pursue, another relationship or something, and they're leaving their children. And I'm finding more and more stepmoms telling me that they are the full-time mom, in particular for these younger children.
And those children are wounded, too.
And are they going to be when they become teenagers? And that, then that's a whole nother show. But how to parent this child and love on this child who has this deep wound of their parent walking out. So that's a big increasing trend that I am seeing today. I love this man, and he's good to me, and he's a great guy, and we got married, and I made that vow, but I think I would like to get out of this. And the reason I'm saying that is because I don't want the stepmoms that are out there that are thinking that to think they're abnormal. It's very normal to feel that way, that this is so much more than I thought it was going to be. I really would like to just get out of this.
It took you about 2 days
Yes.
to figure that out.
Yes, it was about 48 hours before I went, what have I done? I think I was so wrapped up in getting remarried and being normal again that there were some warning signs, but I pretty much ignored them. Here's the crazy thing. We stepmoms think, well, they're over in their other home with their mom. That won't really affect my home over here that much. It'll only affect my home periodically on the weekends or every other weekend. And in reality, that other home dictates when I put the turkey on the Thanksgiving table. It dictates everything in my life. We call the ex-spouse the ex-wife-in-law. And we do that for a reason, because that ex, whether it's the ex-husband or the ex-wife, is a part of your family, whether you like it or not.
And always will be.
And always will be. If the other biological parent doesn't want you there, you show up at Joshua's soccer game and the former spouse is throwing a fit or, acting very abrasively or is doing something that's causing tension. My suggestion to that step-parent is to politely resign. That biological parent is the one that has the relationship and the trust factor with the child. So if a stepmom or stepdad is coming in and automatically thinking they're going to be the heavy-hand disciplinarian because the other parent is not doing it, that is a mistake. For a stepmom, her levels of authority will grow and change over time. In the very beginning, maybe even the first year or two, she would be on the same level of authority as, say, a babysitter. Now, I want to say she is not a babysitter. Please don't let anybody think I'm saying a stepmom is just a babysitter. But that same level of authority where the babysitter has the right to know you have to turn off the TV, yes, you have to go to bed, but she's not really a parent, and she's just under the rule, really, of the biological parent. The next step would be similar to a coach or a teacher, where they have more authority in a child's life than a babysitter would, but it's still nowhere near a parent. The next level of authority would be like a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle. That's a family member that has quite a bit of authority over the child, still not a parent. The goal ultimately is then that both the step-parent and the biological parent would be unified in carrying out both having parental roles. Now, this varies depending on how often the child is with them, the age of the child, what the other biological parent feels about that step-parent having a role in their life. So there's a lot of factors. This is multifaceted, but that is just somewhat of a guideline to help a step-parent understand that they have to move through a process in a level of authority before they get to a place of where the child trusts them.
I'm Roger Marsh, and we have reached the midpoint of this classic broadcast here on Family Talk. We'll continue hearing from Dr. Dobson and author Laura Petherbridge after this short break. Here's Dr. James Dobson with Family Talk.
Have you noticed that laughter is the key to surviving the special stresses of the child-rearing years? It's true. Almost every day I hear from mothers who share the most wonderful stories with me about their kids. One of my favorites came from the mother of 2 small children, and this is what she wrote. Dear Dr. Dobson, a few months ago I was making several phone calls in my family room where my 3-year-old daughter Adrian and my 5-month-old son Nathan were playing quietly. Now Nathan loves Adrian, who's been learning how to mother him gently since the time of his birth. I suddenly realized that the children were no longer in view. Down the hall and around the corner, I found the children playing cheerfully in Adrian's bedroom. Relieved and upset, I shouted, "Adrian, you know you're not allowed to carry Nathan. He's too little and you could hurt him if he fell." Startled, she answered, "I didn't, Mommy." Well, knowing that he couldn't crawl, I suspiciously demanded, "Well, then how'd he get all the way into your room?" Confident of my approval for her obedience, she said with a smile, "I rolled him." The kid's a little dizzy, but he's okay. Parents like this mother of Adrian and Nathan, who can see the delightful side of children, also tend to cope better with the difficulties. I hope you'll never, never get too busy to smile.
This is Roger Marsh once again, and I want to share something with you before we rejoin today's program. This ministry is completely supported by you, our faithful listeners. Your generous contributions allow us to continue fighting for the institution of the family. So if you'd like to partner with us, go now to drjamesdobson.org and learn how you can make a donation there. That's drjamesdobson.org. Or you can call us at 877-732-6825. That's 877-732-6825. 6825. Okay, let's get back now to this timeless broadcast on navigating the tough role of the step-parent.
Laura, there is an infinite number of circumstances that we could pose for you that are common. I mean, every family is different, as you described in the first program, and many of them seem like a one-of-a-kind problem, but in fact, it's probably pretty common somewhere. Let me ask you the question that I consider to be the most important thing I could raise. We're also talking to single moms who are out there who think that there is only one hope for them and for their children, and that's to find somebody that loves them, is going to support them, is going to protect them, take care of them, and live the rest of their lives with them. And they don't know the downside of doing that. You know, they have not read your book, perhaps, and what seems like the ultimate solution is really just the beginning of a whole lot of new problems. What do you say to them? Do you recommend that single mom go on hoping and dreaming for, the night on the white horse, and that's going to be the answer? What do you say to the single mom?
Well, I'm going to make a few enemies right now, but I'll answer your question because it is such a significant and important question. Somehow in society and in the church, we have gotten this notion that a child is not going to be able to grow up whole and healthy and healed and godly unless that woman remarries. And we need to start communicating to this single mom and single dad that they can create a whole, healthy, stable home without getting remarried. That Jesus Christ is willing to come in and be that daddy that your child needs. That we don't need to get remarried to fill that. Now, I know she's feeling tired and harried and financially devastated probably. This is where the church, I got to say, this is where the church is failing. Because we should be having families in the church, men in the church, people in the church that will take a single parent under their wing and become that umbrella and that support system so that woman doesn't rush off and marry someone that may be toxic. I can't tell you how many emails I get from women saying, I thought I was lonely as a single parent. This is 100 times worse, and now I've dragged my child into it. Do single-parent women sometimes find a great guy and it turns out, well, of course that happens, especially if the person is a Christian. But more chances than not, the child would have been better off. Here's where I'm going to lose friends. The child would have been better off had that single-parent mom just become the most stable, godly mom and woman God could make her. And he will meet her needs. He promises it. He will meet the needs of the widow and the orphan.
Would you agree that she also can look to coaches and uncles and maybe neighbors, but you have to be real careful today because pornography is everywhere.
Yes.
Child abuse is everywhere. And it really is catch-22 for single parents.
That's why I lean a little bit more, and I agree with you completely, but I lean a little bit more towards another family or a couple taking those kids so that they actually get to see what a husband and wife raising a family looks like. So they see some role models of what it is to be in a home. But what I long to say to these single moms, these single women, is that somewhere along the line they've gotten the idea that being single is synonymous with failure. And it isn't. It isn't. Jesus loves them and died for them just exactly the same as he did the married couple. And that doesn't mean we're supposed to go out and have children out of wedlock. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you find yourself as a single parent, stop letting the enemy convince you that your child's going to turn out like Ted Bundy, because it's just not true.
Before you commit yourself to another man, a second husband, if you will, check him out. Take the time to understand. What were the circumstances of his first marriage not working out?
Amen.
Does he have any addictive behaviors? If you see that alcohol's a problem with him, run. I mean, don't walk. Run away from him.
Yes.
Or abusive behavior of any kind, or a police record. You better find that out. Before you get into another situation, be sure you're not creating a worse one, as you said.
I often say to especially women, if you date someone long enough and you do not sleep with them, they will reveal to you who they are. If you date someone long enough and you do not sleep with them, because once you have sex with somebody, you have blinders on then. There's an attachment with that person. Right. There's actual chemical that bonds us and causes us to trust this person.
Yes, is the name of it.
But if you date them long enough and you really keep your radar up and you keep your eyes open and you introduce them to your mature friends, that person will eventually reveal to you who they are. Believe them.
I would go so far as to get a background check on them.
I just said this yesterday. I just said that to somebody yesterday, is get a background check. I know that sounds crazy, but I would do it. If I were single again, it's not even a question. Because controllers and manipulators and abusers are masterful at hiding that until after the wedding. Masterful.
And if you've got a teenage daughter, be real careful, because child abuse comes out of that.
Yes.
Often, not always.
It really is, boys and girls. And I hate to have to tell people that, but it's really the reality of today. There are some people that will date a single parent to get at their children. And they're very good at just playing the role until they get themselves into that circumstance. We don't want to walk around in fear, but yet we have to be realistic.
If you are Cinderella and you're thinking that way, you're just looking for any opportunity to meet this absolutely wonderful guy, you may find him. I pray you will.
Yes.
But don't let it blind you, and you better keep your eyes open. I don't remember who it was, but I've quoted it a number of times. Keep your eyes wide open before you're married and half closed thereafter. And that's pretty good advice, I think.
It is. You're right.
Laura, as we wrap up this program, there's a question I want to ask about your ministry, because I know that you talk primarily to stepmoms and you're trying to help them get through a very difficult time in their lives. But there are other groups out there, other demographic groups that may not know about you. What about pastors? Do you get a chance to talk to pastors, because they're in a position to really be of help to families too?
I would love the opportunity to speak to more pastors. Occasionally I get to do that, but the desire of my heart at this point, after doing this for a while, is that I really could start speaking to leadership, church leadership, pastors, deacons, church leaders, so that they would be able to understand how to minister to step families in the ways that...
Because it's very different.
It is. It is radically different. And often because they are not a step family, they minister to them in the same way way you would a bio family, a first-time marriage. And those practices frequently do not work because the couple is dealing with totally different dynamics. So that would really be a passion for me.
Well, Laura, we have had 3 action-packed interviews on this subject of stepmoms. And I think it could go on for another week or two. You have to get back to other responsibilities. I have loved having you here. You're very gifted. You really do understand your subject and your issue, even though you said you'd rather God would have given you something else to be an expert in. But we appreciate so much the contribution that you've made to the program and to the stepmoms that are out there. We've been talking to Laura Petherbridge today and yesterday and the day before. I want to ask you to come back. Would you do that?
I would love to come back.
You're working on another book now, aren't you?
Well, that's in debate. I haven't decided yet.
Well, we won't press you on that one,
okay.
But you promise to let us know.
I
okay?
will. I will.
And God be with you as you deal with these stepmoms out there that are hurting so badly. And like I said, you've made a great contribution, and we hope to see you again.
I'd love to come back. Thank you.
A very heartfelt end to this 3-day Family Talk broadcast, and since this interview was recorded, Laura Petherbridge has continued to wholeheartedly care for stepfamilies all around the world. I urge you to learn more about what she is doing by visiting our broadcast page at drjamesdobson.org. There you'll find links to her book, The Smart Stepmom, as well as information about her thriving ministry for stepparents. You'll find all that information and more by going to today's broadcast page at drjamesdobson.org. If you're looking for helpful tools to strengthen your family, look no further than our resources page. There you'll find many of Dr. Dobson's popular books, teaching DVDs, broadcast collections, and much more. Now, these materials cover topics like parenting, restoring marriages, and passing on a godly legacy. We understand that every family has tough experiences from time to time, but you should know that we care about you, and we want to support you the best we can. So hurry now to drjamesdobson.org and click on the Resources tab. Please know we'd also love to hear about what you enjoyed or learned from these 3 insightful programs here on Family Talk. Be sure to visit Family Talk's Facebook page and comment on any of the broadcast posts. We appreciate hearing how our new as well as our classic interviews are impacting you and your family. Be sure to find our profile on Facebook by searching for Dr. James Dobson's Family Talk. Then leave your comments or thoughts on either of these 3 broadcast posts. Finally, you can stay up to date on our latest broadcasts by using Amazon Alexa. This hands-free device allows you to listen to Dr. Dobson anytime with a simple command. Now, after enacting the Family Talk skill, say, "Alexa, play today's broadcast of Family Talk." It's really that easy. See how to access our daily program on your device by going to drjamesdobson.org/Alexa. Well, that's all the time we have for today and for this week. I'm Roger Marsh. Thanks for listening. Be sure to join us again Monday for another edition of Dr. James Dobson's Family Talk.
This has been a presentation of the Dr. James Dobson Family Institute.
This is James Dobson again. Before we go, I'd like to remind you that Family Talk is a listener-supported program. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, we'd appreciate your helping to keep us on the air. As you know, we talk about everything from religious liberty to the sanctity of human life and raising boys and girls, among others. These are the passions of our hearts, and I hope they are for you too. Thank you so much for listening and for being part of this ministry. For more information, go to drjamesdobson.org.
Hello, everyone. Roger Marsh here for Dr. James Dobson's Family Talk. The news comes in all shapes, sizes, and formats these days, but how do you cut through all the noise and get to the heart of the matters that affect your family? Well, come to Dr. James Dobson's Family Talk and sign up for Dr. Dobson's monthly newsletter. You'll find clarity on tough issues, encouragement for daily life, and trusted principles to help you build strong, healthy, and connected families. Go to drjamesdobson.org and sign up today. That's drjamesdobson.org.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Tim Clinton. Thank you so much for listening today to Family Talk, a radio production of the Dr. James Dobson Family Institute. I wanted to take a moment to tell you a little bit about our growing ministry here. This new institute is continuing Dr. Dobson's life work by fighting for marriages and families. It's no secret that our Christian values are under attack, and we must stand up for righteousness and biblical truth unashamedly. We believe this new institute is doing just that. Aside from our Family Talk broadcast, there are 3 other divisions through which we're continuing this legacy of work. The first one is our educational partnerships with colleges and universities to encourage the next generation. Secondly is the Dobson Policy Center. It keeps you informed on how the political arena influences the family. And lastly is our online collection of all of Dr. Dobson's work in the Dobson Digital Library. We're excited here at JDFI for this expansion. We hope you'll partner with us, and thanks for being a friend of the family.